Okay, hey everybody, let me know if you can see my screen. We are here for the kvCORE Weekly Success Strategies webinar. Annalisa, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see your shared screen, just hoping everyone else can. So if you could drop a little chat or question into the GoToWebinar and let us know if you can hear us and see that shared screen, that would be super helpful.
Cool. So what we wanted to do today, I was recently talking to some kvCORE users and they said, hey, I wish we had a daily checklist, just the things that we should do every day to work the kvCORE system. And Annalisa and I have been working the last day or so to try to come up with this list. And I'll tell you what, the system does a lot of stuff, and this is an easier said than done task, right, Annalisa?
Yes, it does a lot, and then it's just kind of like finding your groove, I think, and seeing what resonates with you and building on that.
Yep. So what we tried to do was to come up with a list. It's not going to be what everybody's going to do. So you guys might disagree and have comments about what we've chosen to add to this list. But what we've done is we're going to go through the checklist we've come up with. We also have given you in the doc link that Annalisa has probably dropped to you guys
Yep.
not only the list of the notes for the webinar that you see on my screen, but also a printable list, a Google Doc that you could just make a PDF and kind of print out if you wanted to and go through day to day.
Yeah, it's the link's been dropped into chat for everyone a couple of times. So take a look at that little chat box and you should see the links there. And I see people popping in. So good job. That's awesome.
Yeah. So so let's start by just talking quickly about a premise here. We're gonna try to live as much as possible in Stephen Covey's quadrant 2. I'm gonna assume that most people here have heard of Stephen Covey and his 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And he's got this kind of graphic that I have here. He's got this thing with the 4 quadrants. I probably read this thing 10 years ago, so yeah, if I had time, I would have reread it. But basically, the nuts and bolts of it is not to obsess over stuff that doesn't really matter. I have STDM there. Sometimes I say something else instead of the S for stuff, right? But try to get to the things that really are essential and need to happen. And we're going to try in this checklist to just stick to things that aren't urgent, aren't things you might ordinarily do, like you would let the kind of urgent quadrant 1, 3, and 4 stuff, like you have a new buyer, or that the home inspection went bad, or the appraisal came in under. We're going to try to get the quadrant 2 stuff done first before we let all that creep into our day with this daily checklist. So that's kind of the thinking there. Is that good with everybody? I was just curious too, just to get some engagement here. If you have or haven't read Stephen Covey's stuff and what you think, if you just want to comment, that'd be cool too. All right, Annalisa, let's hop in and do our best here. This is actually going to be very meaty. We got this down to a 1-page checklist, but we're going to try as much as possible to show you what we mean by a lot of this stuff here. So,
Right.
First off, we're going to start with lead generation and lead conversion, right? And this kind of falls into that quadrant 2 category, where this is the stuff that gets forgotten from day to day, and where you get your peaks and valleys in your business because you haven't done these 2 things or focused on them. You focused on, the 1 or 2 deals. I did the same thing myself when I was selling full time. I'd get up to 4 or 5 things pending and just run around chasing those things all day. And then those would dry up, and then you'd have a slow month, right? So the idea here is to use kvCORE and the tools here to efficiently move through some lead generation and lead conversion steps. So the first one we have here is to post socially. And I have here a QOD. You guys have probably seen Annalisa doing cool questions of the day in our Facebook group. And Annalisa, we should add this to the learning portal. Or a property of the day, or a property search of the day. And the protocol for this is all detailed in a course we have in the learning portal. I think it's under lead generation. Called a simple social media posting protocol that generates leads and referrals. It says 11 lessons. It'll probably take you an hour to go through the whole thing. I've had some feedback that's like, dude, this was so basic, but also
it's a good reminder though.
Yes, some people said this is awesome because they are working the protocol day to day and getting leads. So post socially a question of the day. This would mean going online and saying, hey, I'm just curious who's going to buy a house in the next year. Don't be overtly salesy. It could be nothing to do with real estate. Just go and say something that makes people see your face again in a strategic way. The property search of the day or the property of the day is pretty simple. In the course, you'll see it mostly revolves around going into kvCORE and building out a quick little squeeze link for some random property search. So, Alice, I'm just going to show that for people who are new and have never done this really quick. Okay, so let's go to my thing here.
Yeah, and these are things that really, if you are sitting at an open house, you've got a couple of minutes when you're waiting between appointments, you can do one of these in seconds, and it's real minimal effort for that could, you know, bring back some good return and some good branding influence.
So I'm going to keep it real simple. I could put a source here, Facebook post or hashtag generate link. And all we're really talking about is heading on over to Facebook. I'm always afraid when I do this what's going to be on there, but let's see. I don't think I've posted anything too bad unless
I know nothing.
Good. It's just a post of my brother and his
bodiless kid.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So basically, you're going to go post a link and say something like property search of the day. I'm glad this is happening. Open houses in Manhattan. Our demo account is tied to New York City.
Right.
Now, the Facebook linter or the Facebook system won't always pick an image, and we hear a lot of people say, "Oh no, it didn't pick an image." It's not always us or our fault that happens. But I could easily just take an extra minute, go like this.
Yep.
Oh, that's why. All right.
Yep, that's why.
Okay, good.
I'll bring that up again with the, yeah.
Okay, it's actually not Facebook this time. It is the demo domain that we have here we're having issues with. Okay, thank you. So what I would do is I would just grab, say, a link. Here's a search for all multifamily properties. All right. Now it'll fetch my preview, multifamily properties in Pinellas County, just like that. And what I was going to show you guys, when it doesn't grab an image, you can just quickly take a screenshot or grab an image of a listing or taking a little extra time. It's worth doing to do something really cool. I'm a big fan of putting pictures of Mr. T and Spider-Man and things on the front lawn, but that's a subject for another webinar. But basically what happens here is that if I post this, and I've experienced this firsthand, if I do this every day or 3 to 5 times a week, it takes me about 5 minutes every morning. It becomes a habit. And Elisa, you can even schedule, right? You do that.
On pages, I mean, within groups, you can schedule posts. I'm not sure if you can do it on an actual page. I'll double check right now.
On your own
on a
timeline.
Business page, yeah, I'll have to double check. No, not on your own timeline, no.
Okay, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. You can have an assistant do it.
Yeah.
You can give your assistant a list of what the property searches you want to do for the month, and you just do this, and it reminds people you're in real estate, and you don't get a lead every time, but every now and then somebody will click this, they'll cruise your site, and it becomes a lead. And what I experienced firsthand is people going, "Dude, that property you posted the other day was really cool. I sent it to my mom." Something like that. And I don't even know they saw it. They don't comment on it. They don't like it. But you can get high leverage from a lead generation and a referral generation perspective. People are going to be reminded that you're in the business. So that's that. Okay. Linda's asking, so you don't access that at the kvCORE platform. I'm just on a demo, Linda, so just ignore that. You accessed exactly what I did from kvCORE. Okay, next thing you could do to generate leads is our Core Property Boost system. This thing is working like hotcakes. Everybody who tells me that they tried it tells me they had success. We had Svetlana on last Tuesday. She had gotten 20 leads in her first 40 days. And I'm not going to go too much into that either. Just know that you can quickly run an ad. You can go to Marketplace and run an ad for either your own listing or a listing that you have permission to market. So if you don't have any listings, ask your broker, ask other people at your office or even agents at other offices to get permission. And you can go right in here and boost a property on Facebook and select a listing. Choose the price, 60, 120, 150, 200, 240 based on duration. And what it'll do is it'll run an ad in Facebook. It'll pop up a form inside of Facebook with name, email, cell number, so you get accurate contact info and shoot the leads into your system. So if you want an efficient way to keep your system full of fresh leads, we do this every week. I know I sound like a broken record, but Property Boost is a great way to go if you want a done-for-you option for lead generation and fueling your system. So you don't have to launch a core property boost every day. It's on this checklist, but just think about whether there's a listing. You know what I mean? Maybe it should say consider launching. Is there a listing that I would like to get leads from? Is it my own listing? Would I like for my seller to know that I'm doing something this week to market the property, and consider doing that? Cool. Next, we have tweak existing paid ads, and I have a note: use business analytics. So this is for those of you who are running your own Google and Facebook ads. We have a library at insiderealestate.com/replays of a lot of different tutorials about how to run Google, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat ads. You can scroll through those. And we also have the course right now on Facebook ads in the learning portal. And if you're running your own, or you want to try running your own, you can take a little time, maybe half hour, to mess with that. Or if you have existing stuff running, you can go into business analytics and kind of really see what's working or isn't working. So this might not be something, if you're totally new today to kvCORE, that you kind of have set up and underway. But as you run more property boosts, as you're doing those squeeze links on social, you're posting to Craigslist, you're doing the different things that you like to do uniquely, the business analytics section is going to show you exactly which sources are leading to revenue, leading to actual leads who are talking to you, to deals that are pending and things like that. So this step in the checklist basically says, hey, go check out your existing ads, make sure they're running smoothly. If maybe one's getting more expensive, tweak it out, and then use business analytics to make decisions. Okay.
And just to step in, there's been some few questions like, hey, where the heck are we finding this checklist? So I'm going to drop the link again into the chat for everyone to access. So take a look for that here in just a moment. And it'll also be, don't we email these out to everyone on the weekends, and it's also going to be in the discussion group. So we'll make sure that everyone gets this sent to them if you're unable to access it today via this webinar. So I'm going to send it out again right now.
Cool. So tweak your existing ads and then try something new, a new angle. And we'll kind of lump those two together, but you do need to spend a little time trying to generate leads, right? Next, we'll get to lead conversion, which is what kvCORE really excels at. And we're going to start by just go ahead and respond to any inquiries that came in overnight. You don't want to leave them sit for too long, right? I have the hardest time with this drawing tool. All right, there we go. Respond. So if you do have people who wanted to see stuff, we don't want to let too much quadrant one get in our way. And maybe this is a further down the listing, but just reply and say, hey, got your message. I'll get back to you with that property list in a few hours. What we don't want to do is let our conversion and our lead generation get muddied up by catering to the demands of things coming from the outside. And I know the instinct's going to be, oh, I got somebody who wants to see a property Saturday. I need to go set up the appointment. I need to schedule the five properties we're going to show, and your whole day becomes about that one thing, and you kind of lose focus. So definitely respond to people. Make sure that if you have new leads, you're talking to them. Just shoot them a text back, shoot them a phone call or an email, and just say, hey, yeah, I'm going to get you that info in a few hours, and most people are going to be fine with that. Or shoot them the info real quick, but don't leave it out of your mind, at that point. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to complete all the kvCORE calls and tasks. So kvCORE is going to tell you, when we go to the dashboard, exactly what follow-up calls and tasks right up here at the left side you should be doing. So I'm in a demo account. I don't have much going on in here, but you'll be able to come in and say, okay, here's the people I need to call today. I'm going to close out all distractions, lock my door, turn off Facebook, whatever, and I'm going to blast through and get these contacts and follow-ups made. And if you're doing it right, every time you make a call, let me bring up an existing one, you're scheduling follow-up calls as well. So this one won't let me do it because I have a fake number in there. Let's see here. And it knows I fed it a fake lead, I think. There we go. If I click new call to log a call, what I can do is I can scroll over to the right and say, hey, I want to make sure that I contact this person 4 times over the next 2 weeks or whatever it might be. So as you go through your calls, just the best practice, make sure you always have the follow-up calls set up and ready to go. So this will probably take you on this checklist. If you have a lot of data and you're generating a lot of leads from Property Boost and from your daily social posting, over time, this is going to be where you spend a lot of your mornings. Whatever that first part of the day is going to be spent here. following up. If you're disciplined and you don't think that the mornings are a good time for this, you can kind of flip the order that we're doing everything on this checklist in if you want, kind of edit it. Maybe you like to do these calls in the evening, but just make sure they're on there in your daily schedule some way, somehow. Okay, complete all kvCORE calls and tasks. And remember, the kvCORE calls and tasks can be driven by marketing autopilot and the smart campaigns.
Smart campaigns, yeah, triggers.
Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check for contacts with no alerts. And I think, Annalisa, you agree that this is probably where a lot of people leave a lot of money on the table.
Yes, this is a real amazing system that's pulling listings directly from the MLS of which you're connected via, your brokerage or your team. And we're pulling this information up based on the information that's shared, right on time with that MLS. So we're pulling, I think, on average every 15 minutes for updates across North America. And you can actually identify these opportunities really easy. And I encourage you to at least search once or twice a week to see who has or who does not have alerts set up. So when you go into, I think it's behavior, smart CRM filter.
Yep. Did you know you can actually, you can actually find this from Business Analytics?
I haven't explored that yet, but that's cool.
Yep. So if you go into Business Analytics, actually, you can set filters. We'll show you that in a second, but you can actually go right here to unengaged leads under kvCORE activity. And you can go quickly to all of the leads without a search alert.
Well then.
Now one tip, I kind of showed it really quick up top. There's like a URL. I'm gonna, bear with me everybody, because I think that you guys will find this really useful. And Annalisa, maybe we can sneak it on our doc here somewhere. If I right click here and I copy the link address, look at this. I'm gonna paste this to everybody, mostly so Annalisa can grab it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you save that link, that'll hop you any given time to the
smart CRM filter?
It'll hop you to just a list of all your leads without alerts.
Oh, you can actually save that on your smart CRM as a filter you can come back to regularly as well.
Yep, so let's show that right here. The second way you can get to that is to go to a filter in your smart CRM. And if you ever come and you're confused or can't find anybody, or you have a blank list on your smart CRM, it's because you need to clear filters, which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, if the filter is green, it means you have one applied. If it's grayed out, it means there's not one applied right now. So within this one, you would go into, I believe it's the behaviors. And then has alerts, doesn't have alerts. And then if you go to the bottom right, I mean, you can put in other little factors if you want, but if you go to the bottom right and say save filter, then you can just have a list that's always going to come up for you. That you can come to, so no alerts, and then just save it. Now, initially, it's not going to show as a saved filter across the top. So click on filters again, and then that little cog right underneath the arrow that you hit a moment ago. So click into filters applied, and then just to the right of filters, there you go, click the cog. And now you can actually toggle on what lists do I want to have available for me to see every day, and just click and choose, and what don't I? So now if you click save, yeah, it's pretty cool. So like if you have a newsletter list, a no alerts list, a new leads that I need to double check on list of the last X days, then you can build in these little quick shortcuts, which are pretty nifty.
Cool. So along with the check for no alerts, it's kind of like cruise your filters, kind of.
Yes.
Nice.
Because you can also leverage it for valuations and market reports, and I mean, you can go wild in there.
Very good. So, so now that we found our no alerts, just so everybody knows, we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but you can then go through everybody. We'll go through a contact one at a time, and the search alerts is right over here to the left side, and you can click the add alert. And basically, what you're doing is you're going to build out the search right here and make sure you set it to active. Do I have that right, Annalisa?
You do, and if they've looked at anything, you can look at their timeline. Maybe you haven't talked with them yet. If they've looked at a property, then you can kind of build alerts around what they've viewed so far. If they haven't, then I would set them up for something common in your area, just to ensure that there's some type of listing alert going.
Yeah, that set them up for something common is a really good point, because if you're getting a lot of leads from Property Boost or social posting, people might come to your site, they might register, but they might not spend a lot of time. And one thing we hear, even in the ads department, is, hey, it didn't track a lot of views. I don't know what to send them. And I know from personal experience, it doesn't matter what you send them. They're gonna. In fact, the best thing that can happen is you just set them up to get every house in the market, or only $1
Yep.
million houses, or only foreclosures, right?
And they're like,
And
whoa.
that's the best thing that can happen is like, hey, dude, you're sending me all these different properties. I'm not even looking in that range. And then you have the conversation like, oh, what are you looking for? And it generates
Yeah,
positive interaction, that leads them
it's your
down the funnel.
icebreaker. And I
Yeah.
think one thing also to be aware of with these alerts and property boost and all of this is as you're setting up your lead gen, like before we get to the checklist, when you're setting up your lead gen, you have the ability to build in hashtags. And hashtags are not only a trackable element you can, sort by on your smart CRM, they can also trigger a smart campaign. They can also trigger a listing alert. So you can set things up ahead of the game. So if you have a property boost that's out there and they look at that property, set them up for similar properties in the same area. So, you can kind of finesse these things as you go.
Right. So you can set up auto alerts. That's kind of a pro tip.
Yeah.
Um, just a note: when you do property boost, they're all going to start with PB. So I think you can find those really quickly and see what leads are coming in around specific properties. Very useful.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Next step I have here is cherry pick the activity stream. So this won't take you long, but basically what we mean by this is to just go to dashboard.
And take a gander.
At the activity, right?
Yep. And you can sort them by different types of views. So if they are questions, if they are property views, if they are people who landed on the property to view it. I mean, you have all of these different types of viewpoints you can take.
So if I go to property views, I can see, this is a demo account, but I would see who's live on the site right now. You see somebody on, you haven't talked to them in a while, try getting them. Email, phone, call, you have all the links right underneath to do
Yep.
that. And, you might find that 2 minutes here a day, on the weekdays, 20 times a month, there's probably gold in these hills. You're just going to catch somebody while they're actively searching on your site here and there, and
Yeah, and it's real easy to open up one of those and say, hey, I saw you were looking at XYZ Street. I've set you up for alerts on this, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many ways you can open up those conversation doors.
Yep. Okay. All right. I need to learn how to turn off Chrome notifications. All right, here we go.
I'll do a tutorial.
Okay, great. So we did have a question of, so I just imported 1,500 leads. They have a number, so what would be the easiest way to set up alerts for them? Manual, right, Annalisa? But there is a...
I believe there is a before I speak, I'm going to double check something.
I don't know. Yeah, let Annalisa find it. I don't know if you can mass set alerts, but what you probably can do, you may be able to change the hashtag on mass, and then the alert laws will take over, or you can go back and redo the import and include search criteria in the CSV file that you give our team.
Right. And what I would suggest talking with support on that because I know there's not a mass way of doing like a full-on alerts to set up in a mass way.
If you mass hashtag, will it obey the alert rules or no?
I can't say. I'm not sure if it is a new lead action or not within core. So I'll double check on that.
We need to find out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. Next step we have here is add, adjust, an action to one existing smart campaign. And this brings up something that I see a lot of people do. They get their hands on kvCORE and they go into marketing autopilot and they start building out smart campaigns, and they spend tons of time obsessing over the drip campaigns that are going to be going out before they take any action generating leads, where they feel like everything needs to be set up and ready to go. But with all this planning and meticulousness or whatever it is, they never really get to the stuff that's going to generate revenue. So the reason I have this step in the checklist is I would recommend go ahead and just toggle on the default new lead buyer campaign. It's probably going to be on when you get in there, and let it do its thing. But maybe once a day, go into the campaign and start to tweak some of the language. I can go in here to the campaign actions, and I can look at the texts that are going out and the emails, and maybe replace them with some of my own stuff. the way to see what they currently are is to go, like I just did, I clicked into the campaign, and if I go to, say, first email buyer, and I click in, it says view this template, you can kind of see what's going out right here. So you might decide you don't like this email. You can go ahead and edit it. You can go ahead and remove it and add a new template. Now, we're recording this on July 18th, 2019. It's possible by the time anybody watches this replay in the next few weeks, I thought hopefully by the end of the month, we'll have a whole new email editor. So some of what you see on the screen might look different. But the bottom line is, instead of feeling like you need to stress out about building all this automation in, just go in and start changing once a day one of the emails inside. And also keep in mind that, they're not going to get all these emails at once. So you only really need to be 1 or 2 days ahead of your leads and consistently just stay ahead of them with your changes, and they'll never see the stuff further down the list. Hope that makes sense, Annalisa. So.
Yes, to me it did for sure. I don't see any additional questions yet.
Yeah. So instead of basically takeaway, spend like 10 minutes a day on your smart campaigns. Make them excellent. If you created a new, well, this brings us to the next point. If you created a new webinar a couple days ago or yesterday, you created a new blog post and you think it would be appropriate to put it into a smart campaign, just go to today and think, oh, cool, let's embed this into my existing systems so I get as much leverage as possible from it. And that brings us to the last point with lead conversion. Create a piece of content and mass text / email it. And we've done whole webinars on this topic at insiderealestate.com/replays about blogging, video conversion, what kind of stuff to create. But basically, just do something. Just do a video about a property you thought looked good. Talk about a restaurant you went to, whatever it is, and just send it to whoever on your list it would be relevant to with a mass text or email. So I'll kind of show how you would do that. So I can go to my smart CRM, say I had a tip for investors, and I whipped out screencast-o-matic.com. I whipped out my phone, I got myself on the screen, and I said, I was leaving an appointment, right? Something occurred to me. I'm in my car, and I go, hey, a tip for investors. Man, now I'm on the spot. But just, make sure you check the age of the heater. I'm just making something up right now. But you just talk to the thing, and then you upload it to YouTube, right? You grab the YouTube link, and you get to this stage in your checklist, and oh, who would be interested in that? All right, well, I'll go to my filters and find everybody who is an investor with a hashtag investor, and check them all off. And then right up here, I can go mass email or mass text.
Yeah, and if you want to build a newsletter in that's going to go to these folks as well over time, you can use this same type of function within the scheduled mass email. So you can leverage all of the content you create in many, many different ways within the system, which is pretty cool.
And figured I'd record a video tour of it. Here's the link.
Shabby chic, haha, no.
And then what you can do after this, if you do actually send videos of actual property tours and deals, you can send a text tomorrow and say, hey, did you get my link? Are you going to buy that property? Have a little fun with it. So there you go. Create some piece of content. I mean, real estate is so easy to come up with content because we have the listings. We just talk about the listings and how interesting they are and create videos about them, whether in person or with screencasts, and just send them out to people with mass text or emails, and you'll generate a lot of inbound action. People asking about specific properties or just being attracted to you because they see that you're an expert, that you're active, and they need somebody who can help them out.
Well, and that would be a really good place to leverage the manually added exclusive coming soon's pockets, what have you as well.
Very good point. So manual, let's show everybody what you just said. Annalisa's saying that you can add your own manual listings and coming soons.
Yeah, it's pretty neat because you can add in your own property listings on that listings little house icon and then click manual just to the right of MLS there. And you can create your own listings within the system. So if you have something that hasn't hit the MLS yet, you can actually build it in, which is pretty cool.
Coming soon.
So like at the, yeah, so I mean, you can have them with a date, a sold date, a listing date. You can add in photos. It's pretty robust, but you can add in, like if you go to the very, I think it's the bottom one is my Seinfeld apartment. Just, it's like towards the bottom of your screen, the little house, the one right above that,
Oh, okay.
one down. Well, that one works. But basically, you can build these in with photos and information about the house, amenities, gallery where it sits on a map, and it creates a unique link for you. So you have your own direct link that you can utilize in advertisements and custom text codes and what have you, and memory our sites down. So, but you can build these in very easily.
Very cool. So yeah, coming soon will be another type of content that you could be sending out. You could also, another easy piece of content is FYI, these 4 properties just sold in your neighborhood, your town yesterday. You can do a quick blog post. There's so many different quick things you could do. We have a question, does kvCORE work with BombBomb? Yes, via Zapier, and we have something really interesting coming down the pike. Some of you guys, there's a beta test group, might have access, but we have something called API Nation that should be fully launched by next week, and it makes it really quick to bridge kvCORE to BombBomb, Facebook lead ads, and a number of other systems. So it's kind of think Zapier.com, but like really point and click simpler, even simpler.
Yeah.
Cool. So that is our sort of morning, right? Let's pretend that was your morning. It was like 8:39. You got to the office, and you ran through this, and this whole checklist took 2 or 3 hours. But what you've done is you've stuck in the stuff that's very quadrant 2. It's not urgent. You could get away with not doing any of this stuff and be fine tomorrow, which is what most people do. But it's important in the sense that it keeps fueling your business along and keeping your pipeline full. So that's that. At some point, you are going to need to get to the quadrants 1, 3, and 4, and close those deals, make sure the fires are put out, and all that other stuff. So at this point, we've gone through a few hours yet. And if any of you guys have read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek, I think it was him. He had an auto response email, right? That said something like, I don't check my emails till later, till like 11 or 4 or something.
Yeah, I respond at these times.
Yeah, I respond at these times, and this is where now you're free to check your inbox, your emails, texts, and social inboxes. I actually personally live this way. I try to do something creative in the morning and create content. You guys will see me post to the Facebook group or something, usually earlier in the day, following this protocol. Then you're going to set your listing buyer appointments previews, handle pending deals, put out fires and appointments. All the rest of this stuff because this is probably what most of us are doing all day long instead of this other stuff up here, right here. And then we have a few other notes here. While in transit, don't forget, this is another kind of quadrant 2 kind of deal. Whip out your app and make more calls. Connect with more people in your database who maybe you didn't get to in the morning, or maybe there's not a task coming up yet in the system, but you're going to go through and you search all your past clients and maybe just reconnect with somebody. And then we have at night and other downtime, we just have visit the kvCORE learning portal and the support portal and watch one of our past webinars, which are all, we'll kind of put links. There should be links nearby to all this stuff. But the learning portal is a big one that we're working hard on here at Inside Real Estate. And there's more and more content being added all the time. If you just go in there and you go to, it's a little hectic, but if you just go to all courses, you can kind of browse through, scroll down. There's lots of stuff in here. Mortgage tips and tricks for mortgage lenders, get your lender involved, how to generate and convert seller leads. Thanks.io was integrated last week. So
there's your API Nation training. Yeah,
API Nation training is in there if you want a preview of what that looks like. Yeah, you can actually do that now and get a feel for what we're talking about there. And it'll drop, I think, hopefully by the end of this week or early next week. They're just working out some bugs, which is why I went to a beta test group. But that's how you'll bridge to BombBomb and other things like Constant Contact, MailChimp really easily, right there. So, and then there's a tour. I forgot there's some stuff about Property Boost as well if you're curious about that. Okay. I think that was a good run through. Does anybody have any? I see some questions coming up. Feel free to ask anything you want either about this content or anything related to the system now, and we'll hang out and answer what you got.
Well, there was a question from Tom. Hey, are you going to make changes to the search criteria in the lead engine? I noticed that it does not have some of the parameters that have the select styling filters. So I believe, Tom, you're speaking to, I would think in the lead engine, probably within the squeeze pages.
Yeah.
And the options available within.
Yeah. So I think what Tom's saying is this is not the full search that you have on the front end of the site.
Correct. Now you can create, currently we could take our squeeze page, or actually we could actually go to our front side of our site and create something that has the parameter like with cottage or, you know, a specific type of home. And then you can manually create a squeeze. And I've done some trainings on that. So I'll make sure that I insert the training on how to create that with a hashtag manually for something real unique, like such as that with a keyword. Now, when it comes to listing alerts, we do have the keywords in where you can choose different types of homes and even put in, you know, what's the parking like? What's the water situation? How's it getting to the house? How's it being heated? What type of, you know, is it a cottage? Is it a townhouse? Is it a, you know, what have you? So you can add in those parameters with those keywords.
Yeah, long and short of it is you can run any search from the front end of your site and pretty much search the whole MLS, and then add a couple of parameters up in the URL. Like Annalisa said, she has some good trainings on this that would add the source and the hashtag to that link.
And Tom's saying, hey, I noticed there were some duplicates that show up. Tom, and everyone, if you ever see something that you might be like, hey, is there something up with this? Is this a bug? What's going on? Please be sure to contact support directly via chat on your dashboard during our business hours, or email that information on what you're experiencing and seeing with an example or two to kvCORE@insiderealestate.com. Then we can get our product team on it to really tackle it and dissect it to see what's happening.
I think Tom's question about duplicates showing on the site, I learned recently, I think some MLSs, if you have MLS overlap, that can happen.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So it might be that, Tom, but definitely a support deal. Glenn's asked if I've developed a campaign of constant contact can be sent through kvCORE. No, the answer to that's no, but what you can do, and you can do this with Zapier now, and it'll be easier with API Nation, is you can take all your leads through kvCORE and push them out into Constant Contact and let the campaign go through there. So a lot of people just are used to using a system like Constant Contact, Aweber, GetResponse, or for whatever reason they just want to segment out their email marketing into something they control a little more for deliverability. So you can push your leads out into those systems. I think that's a very good practice, honestly, because you can have more control over your deliverability versus kvCORE. I won't go down this wormhole too far, but it's good to have your list in a few different places. Put it that way.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
You never know who's going to respond to what, so it's good to have that diversification going on.
Yeah, especially, you know, you might be in a situation where you like to keep those leads out in a third party, and you use kvCORE. You're using kvCORE to get them to client status, and then you have a different plan with email marketing at different statuses in the deal. So anyway, wormhole. When we launched the new email campaign builder, I've seen it. It's really good. A lot of what I'm saying now might become moot because people might be like, well, I'd rather just use this because it's beautiful. I've seen a preview of it. It's going to be very nice. But yeah, you have that flexibility and those options. All righty. Anybody else have anything else you'd like to explore? I want to remind everybody right now that we do have our Facebook group. I'm going to assume most of you guys are on it. But Annalisa and I generally, at least once a day, each of us post something juicy, as well as other people who contribute to the group. We have frequent posting. It ranges the gamut from beginner to advanced geekery going on. So definitely join if you can. Here's some of the latest stuff going on. Annalisa posts some examples of a property search of the day you can do. Kind of swipe, things like that. So anybody else have anything else? Annalisa, you have anything else? If not, we can get going.
Yeah, I don't see any additional questions. I just really encourage everyone to dive into this list and start working it into your day. If it looks like a lot, just work a few segments in initially. But I really encourage you to try to get your head around something like this so you are dedicating time to yourself and respecting your own time and blocking that time out to complete certain things. I think that's really helpful.
And, you know, Annalisa, let's include a link to the actual doc, so if people want to change it up a little, they can.
Sure, can do.
You know what I mean? They can change it and then print it out from
Yeah.
Google Drive.
Yep.
Uh,
I
Thank
will
you,
add that
Trey.
right
Very,
now.
very nice feedback. Thank you for that. Cool, guys. Thank you, Tom. And yeah, we'll see you guys all tomorrow. I forget what I'm doing. Oh, tomorrow we're going to do at 2 p.m. the Marketplace webinar. I'm just going to talk about the Done For You WordPress plugin. So everybody might not be interested in that, but if you want to come join us, basically we're going to talk about if you want to build your own WordPress site, we're going to do a demo of the WordPress plugin and kind of how it works, the ins and outs of using it. All right. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you all tomorrow or next Tuesday for the next kvCORE strategy session. Thank you, Annalisa.
Thanks for being here, everybody. Bye-bye.